How's it going, everybody? I'm doing kind of a little update video on everything that's going on, and I mean everything, because we are T-minus 2 weeks, roughly. So, let me kind of show you what I got going on. I got the door, and the door is on, and the door is functional. I got the trailer door latch in. It's got the locking mechanism, and I also have this portion trimmed out for the door to actually close. We've got all of the windows in, sealed, and I have the vent in and sealed as well. So I'm going to be using these pieces right here to basically close up the gap all the way around the door. I got this stuff right here. It's basically just single sticky side sealant foam, and I'm basically going to run it along the fat side right here. Now the door is all sealed up. So I got this trim piece on there with the foam bordered all the way around, and now the door has something to actually set back on so it won't fall in, other than the latch portion. But I think it's looking pretty good. But if you guys haven't seen the other video, I got the half doors done. I'm not sure if we're gonna be running them at this point, and the reason I say that is because it's absolutely pouring outside. And the weather looks like it's gonna be this way for a little while. So we're gonna see. We're only 2 weeks away, and the weather doesn't look like it's changing much. But I have some new projects that we'll go over after the trip. Got this 88 Toyota pickup, single cab, long bed. And then right over there, you can see, got a 83 Dodge Ram Charger. Picked them both up for a really good deal, and they are both going to be the new projects. Those will be videos for after naches. So right now I'm waiting on the jacks and some of the electrical stuff for the camper. They're both supposed to be here, I think, either today or tomorrow. The jacks I'm going to try to get on by tomorrow, because we are planning on pulling the camper out of the container tomorrow, even though it is completely and utterly dumping rain. And then I have a power supply. So it'll take 110 and convert it down to 12 volt, which is what I need for the fan and the light. And I have a plug that will get set through the wall to be able to run off of this little guy. Got it from my neighbor. He ended up moving to Colorado, but he asked me, he's like, hey, do you have any use for this? And I'm like, I will sure find a use for it. So it's just a little old school power inverter, and for the most part, she starts right up. She's a runner. So that will be perfect for, at least for now, for running the stuff on the camper. I would like to get an actual battery set up and everything so it can be self-sufficient and be trickle charged off the truck, but that's not going to happen for this trip. I also got a pit bike that doesn't run. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I think it's a Chinese brand, I'm not really sure. It has 0 compression, so that's going to be a later project as well. If it was something simple, like a spark plug, I was gonna get it going for naches so we can ride around back to the bathroom or something like that. But no, it's the top end. There's absolutely no compression on it. The Dakota is good, I guess. I mean, it's not any worse than what it normally is, so I'm guessing that's good. I still have quite a bit on the list, but there's a lot of things that doesn't have to get done. It's just a lot of things that I would like to get done. But I think that might be pretty much it. I'm gonna keep working on the camper. What are you doing? Eating the grass. Oh, well, it's the next morning. Big things happened last night. And had some friends over, and they helped me with something. They helped me get the camper in the truck. So yeah, she fits pretty nice. It's a little tall. I don't think it's really that horrible. At first, initially putting it in there, I thought it was just absolutely massive, but I think a normal camper is about that height. I mean, I made it as short as possible, and yes, it fits in there with the tailgate closed. I probably could have made this thing a little bit longer, but it's 5 feet on the bed, 5 feet on the nose, and it closes with the tailgate. So I'm happy with that. Door's all good to go. And it rained a little bit last night, so we're gonna see if there's any water inside the camper at all. That's my main thing. I want this thing to sit out in the weather, and I want to be able to make sure there's no leaks, because if there is, I don't want any of this sealed up. I want to be able to see it for now and be able to tell if there's any leaks before I go to close it up and then have to tear everything back apart. Initially, it's a little cool in here. Obviously, I don't have nearly all the insulation up, so obviously that's gonna happen. But it's not like god-awfully cold. It's cool. This is first thing in the morning. Got the flooring in yesterday as well. It's obviously not finished because I have a few pieces. This is gonna get capped off back here, but the flooring for the most part is in. Real big job. I mean, this is basically the same amount of flooring you would put in a 2,000 square foot house. So, you know, this took quite a while to do. No, it didn't. But she's coming along. She's in the truck. And the door closes nicely, solid. The biggest challenge so far, and no, it hasn't been building the camper, which is weird, is actually how I'm going to be mounting this down in the truck. So I have a few different options. I do have hook points in the bed. It's great, dandy, all that, but I can't get to the back ones. The camper still needs to be pushed forward about roughly an inch maybe, but I can't fit my arm down in here to get to the hooks up front, unless I cut out a pocket in the two front corners to have basically an opening flap, and then I can reach out and hook them from there, but then I still need to actually mount whatever hook I'm going to use in there. So that's option one. Option two is these plates. These plates are going to be used to weld the jacks to. So they're going to be welded, and these are going to be mounted on all four corners. And I have two of one side and two that are flopped the other way. So I have obviously all my main braces that come down on both sides, and I can use big lag bolts to actually mount this guy down. And these have a little hook point right here. So I could use those hook points, and I could make my own outriggers that come out, that run down and hook to, like a normal camper setup would be. But obviously those outriggers aren't cheap. I don't know if they make them for my truck, and if I have to make them, it's just gonna be a little bit time consuming. So I'm gonna have to look into possibly doing that. Option three is they make drop-in pieces for these bed rails that fall in, and they have an angled piece that comes down with a hole in them. So I could use these, mount these here, and then have a tie-down point that goes from there to that little hook right there. But one of my friends, a few of my friends have said that those will end up ripping out of the bedside I have no experience with a truck bed camper, so I don't know. I got to do a little bit more research on everything before I make a final decision. If I can make my own tie down points off of the frame, then that's what I'm going to do, because that's going to be the strongest point. But I got to go ahead and look under here and see what material I have and go from there. But enough rambling. Let me see what I can do. So I think I have the tie downs figured out. I gotta do research, and I gotta go to the store to actually see what they have. But for like a turnbuckle style, or you know, whatever they have. But I made these other plates. I still have to drill holes in them. And what I think I'm gonna do is mount these in a way where I can have these lag bolted up in here, and then I can run a tie from this point down to the hook in the bed. So I gotta go to the store real quick and see what I can come up with and see what I can make work. So I'm gonna go do that real quick. So I ended up getting what I needed at the store. Got some screw together carabiners. These are rated for 2,000 pounds a piece. One is gonna go on either end of this guy, and there's one that is bigger than this, but they're both rated for the same weight. I couldn't find one that was rated for anything more. They state 350 pounds, but going corner to corner on all four corners, you add this up, so each side will be able to hold, what, 700 pounds? Each corner 350, and the camper doesn't weigh 1,400 pounds. So we're gonna try these and see how they work. I'm gonna take it easy for a bit. I'm gonna keep an eye on these. If I see these bending, deflecting, or anything at all, I'm gonna immediately change these. But this is the setup we got going on, and I got a bunch of 3/8 lag bolts, and I'm gonna drill some holes in these plates, and I'm probably gonna do 3 lag bolts per plate for the tie downs. All right, so far I got the back ones good to go. So got a carabiner, got these bolts, 3 lag bolts, 3/8 lag bolts. These aren't going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And then I got this one on this side. Now I got to put the plates. This is going to be the hardest area to do. I got to put the plates on the back side. There's not much room to work down here. And I got to do the same thing. We got to move the camper back forward and then tighten all of them down. Got all 4 of them strapped down, and used a 4-inch hole saw to make these 2 holes right here so I can get in and tighten the turnbuckles. I'm gonna get some 4-inch PVC and a cap to be able to actually cap those off. And then I drilled my hole for my plug to run in right here. I'm just waiting on the power supply. And right now we are currently getting everything ready and kind of moved out to the end of the camper for the camping trip. All of our gear, everything that we need, just to make sure we have everything. And I'm waiting on the jacks still. Since it's in the truck, I don't really need them right now. But I got all 4 plates on and just waiting on parts at this point. And then the jacks, like I said before, they're gonna get bolted on right there with some more lag bolts. And the jacks should hopefully have enough stick out, I'm hoping, because I made this camper basically the width of the front edge of the bed. So hopefully the jacks will have enough stick out to be able to clear past the tire and everything. If not, I'll have to make an extension piece and use a different piece other than the little weld-on piece that they give. But it's finally nice to have this container back and free, having that thing out of here. Getting all the camping stuff, going through and doing a little bit of cleanup. Moved all the excess wood and everything else in here, and just going through everything we have. Got the seating and storage area buttoned up. Basically close this all off. Now we can actually sit. We are going to be getting some cushions. Got the vacuum in here because I still do have to run the power, but I'm going to wait on everything for that. So as of right now, we're looking pretty good. We have a much smaller list than we did. The camper's coming along. Like I said, I've said many times, the interior is not gonna be done. So this is gonna be done to the point that we can literally just use it, sleep in it, and we're just gonna go have a good time. The interior is gonna slowly get done throughout time as we like to add things. So we're gonna go on a quick test drive. I'm gonna kind of lock the door up, see how everything goes. So we're doing a initial test drive, and so far it actually seems pretty stable. It's got a little bit of sway back and forth, just ever so slightly, but I don't have the bags up really at all. I mean, they're at the normal 5 psi that I would normally run them. And checking everything out inside, everything looks good so far. Got the door locked while we're riding down the road. All the tie downs are still tight. Well, we just got back from the road test. Starting to rain again, of course, but the road test went really well, actually. I mean, it's almost to the point where I can barely tell it's back there other than a little bit of top sway, but the tranny temp stayed nice. It pulls hills just fine. You can barely tell the weight difference, barely have the bags up, and all in all, nothing shifted, nothing moved. None of the brackets are bending, none of the turnbuckles are loose, and I don't know what to say other than I think it's gonna work. I might have did something right. Not that it's the prettiest thing in the world, but I might have done something right. But now I got to start wiring the fan and everything. I'm still waiting on my power supply, but I'm gonna start running the wires from the roof down to where the power supply is gonna go. So I have a bunch of old harnesses that I'm gonna use to run my wires down, and I have to go get an inline fuse because I don't have any more. And then also the jack showed up, and I know some people are gonna say that's not gonna work, and you're right, these aren't gonna work how they are, but the price comparison to an actual trailer jack and these, like, actual trailer jacks are anywhere from $300 to $500 a piece, even if you were to go to try and get some takeoffs off of an old camper. And I'm not looking to spend that kind of money. So these are 5,000 pound rated, and these were only $40, maybe $50 a piece. And yes, I know they're a top crank, but I made myself a little adapter for the gun to be able to take this piece off, like this one, throw the bolt through, and screw it up and screw it down. So I'm going to eventually be cutting a little bit off the foot and running a pin through and making an extension bar so it'll be pinned at the top and pinned at the bottom. It's not going to happen before naches, so that will be a later on thing. Basically, when we get back, I'll probably work on that to be able to get the camper out, because the camper is going to sit on the back side of the containers. But those aren't going to happen necessarily right now. There's still some figuring out I got to do, along with the pieces that weld on, because I made the camper pretty thin in a sense to the bed. The jacks aren't gonna protrude past far enough to be able to jack down. So either I got to make my own extension plate or make an extension that those slip into, or I got to make my own new sleeve and side drill my holes so they sit out. So I got to figure that out and figure out how I want to go about doing that, but that's going to be at a later date, because right now I want to get on to some wiring. All right, so got the power hanging right here, and it's going to end up getting ran over and down. I have the hole already drilled out, as I think I mentioned before, for the plug to be able to go through. So all my wires are going to be ran down over to this corner. The power supply has 3 leads, so we're going to get this ran down and prepped for when the power supply gets here. I don't know if it's shipped yet, so hopefully it's soon. All right, well, now that I've made a mess everywhere, I've got the wiring started for this. Got these tied up, ran some holes drilled, tied up here, and then I did a cross drill right here to be able to run the wires down. I don't have long enough leads, so I have to do a little bit of attaching as I go. So I'm basically doing a direct run all the way down here, and most likely I'm probably gonna build some kind of box, and this is kind of where all the fuses, the power, everything's gonna be in this area, or up in this area permanently. And got the power ran all the way down. So I got my 2 leads, and both of these leads are hooked up to the 2 separate leads for this. The gauge of wire is much bigger for this, and I will be putting an inline fuse down there, so I got to figure out what amp fuse I need. So hopefully here soon we can actually test this all out, because I don't know how bright this is or how well the fan works yet. So we're kind of crossing our fingers and hoping that this is going to be enough for what we need for at least now. Well, we just got a delivery come in, and I got real excited that the power supply might have been here. We got rugs. 2 of them to be exact. Not what I was hoping for, but oh well. So yeah, at this point, I am just waiting on the power supply. There's not really much more on the interior that I'm going to be getting done before the trip. So it is definitely going to be staying kind of bare bone. We can at least sit down now, and I can finally kind of relax a little bit, because I was starting to get worried I wasn't going to be able to get this finished in time. It's not finished. I'll keep saying that, because there are some people that say, yes, I'm miles and miles and miles away from being finished, and I know that. I still have a lot to do. But we really don't want to be putting the walls up in this thing until we start getting an idea of what we want in here, because I don't want to have to put the walls up and then take them back down for any reason. So I kind of want to get a list together of what we want to do first before I put all the walls up. I am gonna still do the rest of the installation, maybe before this trip. We are literally 2 weeks away. Everything else is pretty much good for now. The Dakota is ready to go. The trailer's good as always. The Ram, she's good. And yeah, everything's looking good so far. Yeah, like I said, T-minus 2 weeks. So I'm gonna keep cracking on everything that I got going on. That's gonna be it for now, guys. Probably have 1 more video up before we leave, maybe 2, but it's starting to come down to the wire and everything's starting to get done. So I don't know if there's gonna be really that much more. Watch out for the naches videos, because there's gonna be a lot of them. It's probably gonna be a video of maybe a video for about each day that we're there, depending on what trail system we're going on. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. So as always, hopefully you guys are enjoying what's going on, and stay off the road.
Start it up.